that witness concludes. Let's bring in criminal defense attorney Jeffrey Wolf. Jeffrey, thank you so much for joining us. We know that the defendant is claiming self-defense, and the information about the gun is important. Tell us what you think about this particular testimony.
Experts are not the best people to set up factual scenarios because they are, quite frankly, trained by their own classes that they take to say that they can't tell you any of the circumstances that are present in a case because all they really know are the numbers. They can tell you what the DNA is on there and who it identifies, but they can't tell you where it came from, and they can't tell you with any degree of certainty how it got there. And so the best thing you can do for your client in that circumstance is not go at the state's expert to say, hey, is it possible that she was pistol whipped by the male contributor who you can't even identify? The best thing you can do is to put your own expert on there and talk about how that male DNA could have gotten on there and go through all those factual scenarios with your own expert who's going to be a little bit more friendly towards it and explain it in a little bit more common language for a jury. That's what you want to do with DNA. Going at the state's expert with that, not as useful.
And you're right. I would expect, given we know that she's claiming self-defense, the judge rejected that and said this is a decision for the jury to make. But knowing that she's claiming self-defense, I think this is a case that we can say for certain the defense is going to have to present some testimony. They're going to have to present a case, which they don't always have to, if they are going to go forward on the self-defense claim.
Yeah, absolutely. And when you're talking about DNA and you're talking about that the state is saying there's nothing to identify on the gun to tie him to having touched the gun, you want to bring your own expert in there to cast some doubt at what the state's DNA expert did and what they're saying they can't do, because the state's expert doesn't always get it right. So bring your own expert in there to talk about the faulty assumptions made by the state's DNA expert instead of trying to get the state's DNA expert married to your theory of the case, which they're never going to do for you.
Right, absolutely. And then it may be that the experts, battle of the experts, kind of cancel one another out. We see that happen, but I agree. I think the defense needs to do that. All right, Jeffrey, stand by if you would, please, sir. Coming up next, we'll switch gears and head to Ohio, where the case against Bianca Ellis is beginning to wind down. Now, court has ended there for the day, which means under the court's order, we are now able to show you today's testimony. But first, Court TV's Matt Johnson will join us live next to get us up to speed on the case. Stay with us. All that and more up next.
There are moments when it gets scary.
You hear shooting down there?
And the important thing to do is not panic. Be dynamic.
They're here improving their skills for how to get through Russian minefields.
I love that Scripps News gives me the opportunity to go where the stories are. You meet the most amazing people, everyday individuals whose stories take bravery to tell. These are stories the world should know about.
Jason Bellini, Scripps News.
For live reports, breaking news, and headlines from around the world, stream Scripps News.
How prepared is your family if disaster shows up at your doorstep? You can't just turn away a natural disaster. That's why it's important to go to ready.gov/plan before they show up. It has the tools and tips you need to make an emergency plan with your family. So if disaster comes knocking,
let's go.
You'll be ready to help keep your family safe.
It's just a pizza.
Yes! Make a plan today.
Remember the 1970s? The radio had a dial. Changing the channel on the TV was a job. A lot has changed. But one thing has not changed: Washington's regulations on local stations. Regulations that make it tough for local TV and radio stations to compete with global big tech platforms. If you want to keep local news and live sports on TV and radio, we need updated regulations. Tell Washington to modernize the rules to help local stations compete. This message furnished by the National Association of Broadcasters.
Jesse Palmer. Emmett Smith. Both of us together? This must be some kind of TV fantasy.
Nope, it's reality. Tableau reality. Tableau lets you watch, pause, and record live TV subscription-free.
Pause you, Jesse. I'm here for 100+ channels. News, reality, movies, free live sports. Plus, it's game time.
Tableau. It's not fantasy, it's reality.
And a smart play.
Learn more at tableautv.com.
The MVP of TV.
Interview with a Killer. New season premieres Saturday, October 25th, only on Court TV.
Behind every race car driver is a passion for staying ahead. Competing in the Scripps National Spelling Bee gave me an edge by teaching me to view every challenge as a learning opportunity. Just like in racing, no matter where you place in the bee, you can push yourself and discover what you're really made of.
Empower your students to dream big, just like NASCAR driver and Tableau TV ambassador Ryan Ellis. Put them on the fast track to success and sign up for the Scripps National Spelling Bee today.
You dream about moments like this. My goodness.
The fastest female track and field stars compete in a one-night-only event. Atlas NYC 2025, live from New York City, Friday at 7. It's on ION.
You got us banned from being room parents? I have never been more in love with you.
Who wants to go nuts for donuts?
Show them your folding trick.
I'm not in the mood for your sheet right now.
That's gotta hurt, huh?
You keep me coming back for more.
A social media star loses his wife and then loses control.
I couldn't believe that she could do that to me.
From content creator to cold-blooded killer, the TikTok star murder trial. Weekdays streaming on Court TV, Legendary Trials.
Street Health.
Welcome back to Court TV Live. I'm Ashley Wilcott. Thank you so much for being with us. We want to now turn to Ohio, where the case against Bianca Ellis is winding down. Ellis is accused of fatally stabbing 3-year-old Julian Wood and injuring his mother in a seemingly random attack in a grocery store parking lot that happened last year. Now, court has ended there for the day. Now, under the judge's order, that means that now we are able to show you today's testimony. But first, let's bring in Court TV's Matt Johnson to get us up to speed on the case. Thank you so much. Great to see you, Matt. Tell us what we should be looking for as we're beginning the case from this morning and watching the testimony.
Today was day 4 in this trial, and wow, it was a huge day. Starting off with the fact that the defense started calling witnesses today, including a forensic psychiatrist. Dr. Megan Testa reviewed medical records and evaluated Bianca Ellis over a 20-day period leading up to trial to see if she was competent to stand trial. She also testified about a long history of mental illness of this defendant and treatment, telling the jury this, talking about episodes, hallucinations, including killing El Chapo, being a part of the mob, visions of people coming out of walls. On direct, Dr. Megan Testa was asked this: is it true that she still carries schizophrenia? The doctor said yes. Without medication, she was asked, will it likely return? The doctor also said yes. This is pivotal to the case, as we've been talking about it, Judge, because they are trying to prove not guilty by reason of insanity or defect, which would change the sentencing.
That's right, that she didn't know the wrongfulness of her actions at the time that she committed that crime. So how did the state wrap up its case before the defense started?
It was powerful, it was emotional, and it was really tough for this jury. So the final witness talked about the medical records. It was the medical examiner who was called to the stand. It was very graphic in nature, detailing the injuries to 3-year-old Julian Wood. On direct, Dr. Elizabeth Mooney, she is the deputy ME, was asked the cause of death. And she said it was the multiple stab wounds to the face and back, and then the manner of death, she replied, homicide. There was no cross-examination of this witness. The jurors were sent out of the room. There was an extended break, and I have to imagine that they really needed it because they saw a lot of photos, and from the autopsy, it was just really graphic and really terrible.
I would think that would be just as emotional as listening to his own mother testify as to what happened. Matt Johnson, thank you, of course, for all the updates before we go into this case. And coming up, the lead detective is the first witness of the day. Again, according to the court order, we can just now bring you that testimony. So we will do that. That will be up next.
Tonight on Closing Arguments, the defense begins their case in the toddler-stabbed murder trial. We're breaking down the biggest moments from today's proceedings.
Closing Arguments with Vinny Politan tonight at 8/7 Central, only on Court TV.
A wife accused of murdering her prominent attorney husband, and the defense involves blaming her own sons?
Victim to verdict with Ted Rollins. New episode Saturday night, 8 Eastern and Pacific.
Only on Court TV.
How prepared is your family if disaster shows up at your doorstep? You can't just turn away a natural disaster. That's why it's important to go to ready.gov/plan before they show up. It has the tools and tips you need to make an emergency plan with your family. So if disaster comes knocking,
let's go.
You'll be ready to help keep your family safe.
It's just a pizza.
Yes!
Make a plan today.
Interview with a Killer. New season premieres Saturday, October 25th, only on Court TV. The most infamous criminals.
We're dealing with an individual who is a loner.
He was in significant danger.
10 cases.
There's a lot of fear, there's a lot of anxiety.
The trash can exploded in front of my eyes.
And I was in shock.
Whoever committed the acts might kill again.
We will find you. You will face justice.
John Lieberman hosts.
We take you inside the hunt for the wanted.
Captured. All this week at 5 during Happening Now in America on Scripps News.
Are you ready?
Game on.
The time is now. She's on fire. You've seen the rest now. You want the best.
Let's go. It's just huge for women's sports.
We gon' keep on winning. Keep winning. Come on. It is on tonight. Are you ready for more? Hear us knocking at the door. Dead on the line already.
There's no turning back.
'Cause I'm ready for the win. Electric.
It's on ION, wherever you watch.
These are the cases that captivated the world.
Couldn't keep my life straight.
They were killed by their own children.
That challenged the legal system and ourselves. Court TV, Legendary Trials.
At Denver 7 News, we're committed to covering our community.
This has been such an important topic for so many.
Always listening.
Somebody listening. That's the big thing.
Finding solutions.
It sure changed everything.
Thank you so much.
Making sure your voice is heard.
Let's find out what brings us together versus what pulls us apart.
Because we know local news should do more than just inform. It should connect.
Remember the 1970s? The radio had a dial. Changing the channel on the TV was a job. A lot has changed. But one thing has not changed: Washington's regulations on local stations. Regulations that make it tough for local TV and radio stations to compete with global big tech platforms. If you want to keep local news and live sports on TV and radio, we need updated regulations. Tell Washington to modernize the rules to help local stations compete. This message furnished by the National Association of Broadcasters.
Welcome back to Court TV Live. We are in Ohio today for the toddler stab murder case. Bianca Ellis is accused of stabbing a mother and her child in a seemingly random attack outside of a grocery store last year. Prosecutors say that Ellis fatally stabbed 3-year-old Julian Wood in the face and then stabbed his mother, Margot Wood, after she tried to intervene. The defense doesn't deny that Ellis committed the murder, but says she was insane at the time of the stabbing. We have reached the time now where we can bring you today's testimony. The court issued an order and said we cannot do that until testimony in court has ended for the day. Now that that's happened, let's start with the very first witness of the day, day 4. This is lead detective Sean Ventrice on direct examination by the state.
Good morning. I'm Detective Sean Ventrice, and I work for the North Olmsted Police Department. My first name is spelled S-E-A-N. Last name is V as in Victor, E-N-T-R-I-C-E.
Thank you. You may inquire, Ms.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Good morning, Detective.
Morning.
You mentioned that you work for the North Olmsted Police Department. Is
I
that
do.
correct?
Yes, ma'am.
How long have you been employed there?
Been employed there for 11 years.
And your title currently is what?
Detective.
And prior to becoming a detective, did you hold any other titles within that agency?
Yes, I did. I was a patrolman.
Okay, for how long?
So I've been in the Bureau since 2023. So
Okay.
I've been up there for 3 years now.
All right. And for the jury, could you briefly describe your background, education, experience that you had to undergo in order to become a law enforcement officer?
Sure. So in 2012, I went to the Polaris Ranger Academy, which is POT accredited by the state of Ohio. I was on patrol, went through the training period, responded to calls, community engagement, state certified CPT courses through the year, which is our requirement to update our certificates and be a police officer in the state of Ohio.
And when you received your promotion to detective, did that cause a shift in your responsibilities and duties?
It did.
Okay, and can you explain to us what your responsibilities and duties are as a detective?
Sure, it's a much larger caseload. So we're a 6-man bureau, as you all learned from prior testimony, including our lieutenant who does handle cases. We further any investigation that is brought up to us by patrol, which is usually felony crimes.
So what types of cases, in your experience, have you investigated in your career?
High-dollar thefts, telecommunications harassments, frauds, internet frauds, robberies, assaults, sex crimes.
Prior to June 2024, had you had the opportunity to investigate homicide?
I did.
So I want to talk to you about June 3rd, 2024. At that time, were you employed by North Olmsted Police Department?
I was.
And were you a detective at that time?
Yes, I was.
And did you work a particular shift?
I did.
Okay, what was that?
So my shift is Monday through Thursday, 6 a.m. to 4 p.m.
Okay. And as a detective, do you kind of assign your officers tasks that they must accomplish during the day or where they should be?
Absolutely, yes.
Okay. And are you primarily stationed at the police station during your shift?
Yes, I am.
Okay. And during that time, do you receive radio broadcasts where you are located?
I do. We do have a PA system that plays our radio calls. And it's not just us, it's other cities as well. So you really have to pay attention.
So on June 3rd, 2024, did any notable call come through on the radio broadcast system?
Yes.
And can you describe to us what that was?
Well, 1500 hours, which is 3 p.m., we had a report of a black female, a female stabbing patrons in the Giant Eagle parking lot.
Okay. And you just corrected yourself. Did additional descriptions come forward as some time passed?
Yes, it did.
Okay. So the initial description was just a female stabbing patrons at Giant Eagle?
Yes, ma'am.
All right. And when that call comes through, how do you respond?
I throw on my Go vest and I run out as fast as possible and go to the threat.
And do you take other officers with you, or do you direct them to respond as well?
I yelled to a couple other officers, and hopefully they caught up with me because I was going with them or without them. So.
Okay. And so do you get into a city-issued vehicle to respond?
Yes, I did.
And I know there's been some testimony, I think it's been established, right, that this Giant Eagle is very close to the police station in North Olmsted.
It is. It's right across the street.
All right. So once you respond to Giant Eagle, where exactly do you respond to?
So while en route, we did get that further information, and we got word that the female, we found out a black female wearing all black, was actually walking eastbound towards Dover. So I went right there.
All right. So that is your focus when you initially respond?
Yes, ma'am.
Versus going to the Giant Eagle store itself? Is that accurate?
Yes.
Okay.
To one of the entrances, yes.
All right. So you're going to Dover Center Road. What do you observe upon your arrival to that area?
Well, I had a good understanding of where that person was walking to, so I pulled into the exit, and that's where I found my fellow officers and the suspect.
All right. And do you recall which officers were there on scene when you responded?
I do.
Okay. And who was that?
It was Patrolman Wilcott and our K-9 officer, DiMatteo.
And when you responded, was the suspect already on the ground?
She was.
Okay. And was she in handcuffs?
No, she was not.
All right. And do you recall who secured her in handcuffs?
I do.
Who was that?
That was going to be Sergeant Nick Gerbolja,
All right.
with the assistance of Sergeant Petro.
And at the time that you responded to that area, did you ever have the occasion to observe a weapon?
I did.
Okay. And can you describe to us where you observed that weapon to be?
I did. So the actual weapon itself was in a rock bed behind a curb.
Okay. And once the defendant is secured in handcuffs, do you remain in that area?
No, I did not.
Okay. Why not?
Because we learned that there was actually 2 victims in the parking lot, so I jumped in the cruiser and went right to that area.
Okay. And did you assign those other officers that were on scene with you to handle the suspect?
Assigned, no. So as spoken in prior testimony, we all play a role, and some of the veteran guys, they know where to fall in that role. It's like a domino. So I saw Petro and Wilcott running with a mass casualty bag, and they were already on top of the victim, so I took my role.
All right. So you go to the parking lot. Upon arriving to the parking lot, describe to us what you see.
No, it was chaos. We had people everywhere. We had our officers relieving people from first aid, which was the CPR I spoke prior. People just didn't know what to do. So I started gathering people to get statements.
All right. Now, prior to doing that, did you have the occasion to observe the victim, Julian Wood?
I did.
All right. And can you tell us a little bit about what you observed?
Yeah, so, Julian was laying lifeless, and there was a lot of blood.
Did you personally render any life aid to him?
I did not.
Okay. But other officers were?
Yes, I did.
And upon observing him in that regard, as you've described, what was your next step?
So after I collected as many people as I could that saw the actual incident, I was approached by some Westlake detectives, my other fellow officers, and we directed them to do a secondary search inside Giant Eagle because we didn't know. It was unclear at first if it took place in Giant Eagle or outside the parking lot. So we just wanted to make sure that there's nobody else that needed our help inside.
Right. Did you have the opportunity to see whether Julian was transported by ambulance from the scene?
Yes, I did.
Okay. And do you know where he was transported to?
Yes, he was actually driven to the hospital by one of my detectives. My partner, Detective Butcher, drove the ambulance to St. John's.
Is that usual?
Absolutely not.
Okay. And why did that happen here?
Because the amount of effort needed to help Julian was greater than the manpower, I guess I can explain it. They needed all hands on deck in the back of the squad.
All right. So you assist with gathering statements from folks. Is that accurate?
Yes, it is.
And were there people just kind of observing the chaos as you've described as well?
Yes.
Okay, and you kind of farmed those people or weeded them out, so
yes.
to speak. All right. And how did you get the people who witnessed something to make a written statement?
Well, as best as I could, I yelled out to everybody multiple times, whoever saw this, come to me with my hand in the air.
Okay. And did, in fact, persons come to you to give statements?
Yeah, I mean, it's a chaotic scene, so it takes people quite some time to actually understand and react to that. They're sucked into what's going on, so I screamed multiple times for people to come to me.
Okay. And you did, in fact, collect some statements from folks?
I did. So I started handing them out, and then I passed on the responsibilities.
Okay. did there come a time where you were assigned as the lead detective in this case?
So usually we are assigned by our lieutenant, but since I bounced around and did so much, I just self-assigned myself to this.
Okay. But you did work in tandem with other detectives, sergeants, and officers within your agency. Is that accurate?
It is very accurate, yes.
Okay. But you are the lead detective in this case, are you not?
Yes, ma'am, I am.
Okay. And given that role, did you take additional steps in the investigation in this matter?
Yes.
Okay. Did you take photographs in this case?
Yes, I did.
Okay, and what photographs did you take?
So after I passed on the responsibilities of getting witness statements, I responded back to the actual arrest scene, and we got that taped off. I am an evidence tech. I was a prior FTO as well. So I started processing that area where the murder weapon was found.
Okay. And if I showed you some of those photographs today here in court, could we talk about them together?
We could.
Detective, I'm going to put up on the Mondo pad some of the photographs, okay?
Sure.
Starting with State's Exhibit 57. Do you see what I placed up on the screen?
Yes, I do.
Did you take that photograph?
I sure did.
And what is this photograph depicting?
So that is what I call an overall photo that establishes location from Giant Eagle to where you'll see where we found the actual murder weapon.
Okay. State's Exhibit 58. Is this what you're talking about?
Yes, that would be another overall of the exit where Bianca was arrested.
State's Exhibit 59.
Again, this is going to be an overall, but this also establishes where the murder weapon was found. If you look further into where that bush is, just to the right of the actual cruiser, there's an orange cone that I placed to mark where that murder weapon was located in the rock bed.
Okay. State's Exhibit 60.
Sure. So Exhibit 60 is going to be an overall of that cone, establishing where the murder weapon was found.
And when you arrived on scene, you testified that the defendant was already laying on the ground.
Yes, she was.
And was she, where was she laying down? Was she on the road here or in this rock bed?
She was on the concrete, not in the rock bed.
State's Exhibit 61.
Sure. So Exhibit 61 is going to be a mid-range photo of a fixed object. That fixed object is going to be that light pole with the concrete. So that means that fixed object, it's going to be there all the time. And that just establishes where and location that murder weapon was found.
Okay. And State's Exhibit 62.
This would be a close-up of the actual murder weapon itself.
Okay, so in these prior photos that you testified to, the weapon had not yet been picked up. It was just kind of concealed by the cone?
Correct.
Okay. So 62 is depicting exactly where the knife was located.
That is exactly where the knife was located.
And is this a fair and accurate description of how this knife appeared on June 3rd when you observed and collected it?
Yes, it is.
And State's Exhibit 63?
That is a close-up of the murder weapon covered in blood.
The same question for all those photographs exhibits 57 to 63. Are those fair and accurate depictions of how the crime scene appeared to you on June 3rd, 2024?
Yes.
So, getting back to the different steps that you took in your investigation, after you take these photographs that we just went through, what was the next step that you took in your investigation?
So, just listening to all the radio traffic, we had people doing secondaries in Giant Eagle. We had people collecting other evidence at other stores. We had people going to check video. So all that stuff was covered, so I went to the hospital.
You went to the hospital?
Yes, I did.
And what was your reasoning for going to the hospital?
Well, that reason is acting as an evidence tech. I went to the hospital to help other officers and direct them what needed to be done.
Okay. And were you concerned with making further contact with the victim's family?
Yes, I was.
All right, and why so?
As hard as it is and how uncomfortable it may be, you got to get a statement. You have to understand what happened. You got to talk to the nurses. You have to list the people that helped. And you have to get photos.
All right.
Still with us, criminal defense attorney Jeffrey Wolf. Jeffrey, to me, this is some of the best presentation of a case by the prosecution throughout this trial, because beginning to end, she has not missed a detail. She even asked the officers, he's laying the groundwork of what happened when he was at the station. And did you get into a city-issued car? Yes. How far away is the store? It's across the street. Walking through every single detail, including someone who literally runs into the gunfire when he hears there's an emergency like this, describes that, but then gets choked up as he's describing his observations of Julian Wood lifeless and bleeding.
Yeah, I mean, this is a case where the prosecution is going to have to lay this scene out extremely well for the jury. And not because they have to prove guilt, okay? The defense is admitting guilt in this case. What they're saying is it's not guilty by reason of insanity. So laying out this case in painstaking detail for the jury is important, because they're going to have the jury understand the severity and the emotion of this case to overcome what is clearly a disturbed individual, to say that this is not something where she didn't understand what she was doing and didn't understand it was wrong. There's going to have to be no mistake in this jury's mind that this person knew exactly what she was doing. And they're going to have to be very emotionally tied to how horrific this was, because make no mistake, this was a very horrific crime. And the bottom line is this person is clearly sick and not well. And the question is, how sick and how unwell was she? And did she understand what she was doing at that time? And in order for the prosecution to really have a solid case here, they want every detail of this day burned into this jury's mind, so that it's all they're thinking about as they sit through what the defense is going to have them sit through next.
I agree with you, but I have to say some of the details, yes, not well, yes, sick, but does it amount to insanity at the time that it happened, not understanding the wrongfulness of her actions? Because there are details in the last 30 seconds, if you would comment, that indicate, I mean, she was cooperative. She tossed the knife aside. And so throughout this entire episode, she's done things that I think would make you believe she knew exactly what she was doing.
Well, even children understand when a cop comes up to you with their gun drawn and tells you to drop the weapon, you drop the weapon. And so I don't know that that gets over whether somebody is insane at the time of this as they're walking around ranting with a knife in their hand. Insanity is a strange one, Judge Ashley, and this is a very, very odd case.
And we have to rely on the experts. We haven't heard from the defense's expert yet, so I appreciate all your comments. Thank you so much, Jeffrey Wolf, for joining us. Coming up next, Michael Ayala joining me for more testimony in the toddler-stabbed murder trial for Bianca Ellis. We'll be right back.